Right now we're about to start this install of these custom gauges provided by US Speedo, and it's a lot more simple than you think. Only thing you're going to need is a tool to pry the trim from around the dashboard, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a couple T-bits. And as you see right now, I'm using the tool to pry the trim from around the dashboard. I'm using a screwdriver. Get over yourself if you want to throw jokes. Anyways, the trim around the dash was easy to come up. It didn't take no time at all. I thought this was going to be the hardest part.
Shock on the beats. Shock on the beats. Shock on the beats. Shock on the beats.
Forgive me right now for not having any video of the 4 screws that you would have to take out of the dash so that you can get the actual cluster with the EVIC out. After you disconnect it, you can take the instrument cluster inside the house and undo the screws in the back. This is where you'll need your T-bits for. And right now, if my big ass head gets in the shots, I apologize. Can't do much about my big head. Anyways. Once you remove all your screws, then you'll take another pry tool to remove the back plastic piece off, so you can gain access to electronics, and also the front trim, the piece that's covering the front trim that's protecting from getting dirt and contaminants and fingerprints all on the center EVIC screen. Yeah, I'm using the fork as a pry tool. Get over it. Or go buy me a pry tool. Anyways, there are some screws. As I mentioned before, there's some screws that you would need the T-bit to get off in the back. And once you get those screws off, like I was saying, use your pry tool and you'll be able to pull the plastic trim off the front. Once you get that plastic trim off, you can take some tape or a marker to mark where your needles are on your speedometer and your tachometer. That's going to be very, very important a little later. Okay, once you got that marked, you can take your screwdriver to remove a couple more screws that you need taken out. There's also a couple of scripts, electronic scripts. You might want to take a knife or something with a fine point. I don't think I had ended up recording that part of it. You will want to take that to remove to let the scripts up to where you can pull the centerpieces out from the tach and the speedometer. Be very gentle with that. You don't want to break anything. Once you get those covers out, you will see that the needles on the speedometer and tachometer will be fully exposed. And at this point, you will take those needles, rotate them counterclockwise as you're lifting up, and they should come right out. It's no problem to put just a little bit of force on it, but not too much to where you'll break something. And the same goes with same with the other needle. And once you get both of those out, you should be able to take your hand and start peeling away at the speedometer and the tachometer. And once you get those off, on to the next step. Which will be taking your new speedometer and tachometer, sitting it inside, positioning it just right, making sure everything lines up. And once you do that, take some adhesive, whether it be tape. They supplied a little bit of tape to where you can tape the back of it, and once you get it in place, it will stick. And then from that point forward, you can do everything in reverse. Okay, you remember when I told you to either mark whether the tachometer gauge or the speedometer gauge where it rested at, where I said either tape it or use a marker to mark it? Okay, at this point, when you put the gauges back in, you will put them back in, rotate them counterclockwise, and make sure you get them to line up exactly where you put those marks at. Otherwise, your gauges will be off and you will be redoing this over. So I shouldn't have to really narrate from this point on out after you get the gauges in place and you fully commit. Yeah, guys, and that's probably going to be the end of me narrating everything as of right now. And I will come back at you when we get everything put inside the car. Back in the car, you would want to connect it to where you can put the car in run mode, but not start it. Well, you can start it up, but I wouldn't recommend putting everything back in place just yet, just for the simple fact that if you didn't line your speedometer or any of your gauges up just right, you can always just unplug it, go back in the house, just take everything off real quick, make sure you got everything connected. before you put the dashboard trim and everything back in place. And after that, if you want, you can start the car up. Well, really start it up and take it for a test drive, making sure your needles and everything else is in place. And other than that, that's about it. And